Gravely concerns of claims of Russian interference in general election to spread support for Nigel Farage's reform. We're going to read into this piece from Sky News, you guys. Let's go. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. This is Reganelite here with an article from Sky News with the headline that gravely concerns claims of Russian interference in general election is to spread support for Nigel Farage's Reform Party. A report says 5 coordinated Facebook pages have been sprouting Kremlin talking points, with some expressing support for Nigel Farage's UK Reform Party. Guys, while you're here, make sure you hit the like button and share it across social media so others are notified of this video. To be quite frank, yeah, there was obviously there have been obviously lots of talk about Russian interference within this general election. We knew that there was, Russian interference in the Brexit referendum. We know that they have been around, and we know that there was the Russian report that Boris Johnson delayed publishing as well when he was prime minister. When he was prime minister as well, we know that the Russians have influence within the Conservative Party through their oligarchs, and the claim of Londongrad is definitely real. We know there's Russian money here in London. Now, I don't know how much information or how much influence that Russia has on Nigel Farage's Reform UK Party. What I do know is that a lot of the same viewers who support Reform UK are a lot of sympathisers to Putin. They believe that there is a justification for what Putin has. They are trying to justify in some way, shape or form that what Putin is doing is simply doing it out of self-defense. That because of NATO's expansion, that Putin gave him some kind of justification for him to be able to declare war on nations, which is simply not true. And now that they've tried to make this claim that Ukraine historically belongs to Russia, not just because of the Soviet Union, but even further back and whatnot, trying to dilute and misinform people about the history of Ukraine. So it's trying. There's a lot of misinformation about this. Now, there may be some arguments and cases about NATO's expansion, about whether they should or shouldn't have expanded, whether they wanted to or not. But one thing that you cannot argue about is that Russia annexed Crimea in 2014. And when that happened, the world turned a blind eye. No one did anything. And he gave Putin all the ammunition he needed to declare war in Ukraine in the future, because he saw that, if they don't mind me taking that part of Ukraine, I can take the whole lot then. The world's not going to do anything about it. And here we are in 2024, thousands of innocent Ukrainian lives, thousands of Russian soldiers dying. And for what? What's the reason this is? So because NATO expanded, they have to attack Ukraine. Is that the explanation? There is no justification for what's happening in Ukraine. None at all. This was a choice by one man and one man only, and that is Vladimir Putin. Over 500,000 Russian soldiers have died as a result of this conflict. Billions of dollars of weapons and arms has been destroyed and been used in this conflict. Many innocent Ukrainian civilians have died as a result of this conflict. Many Ukrainian soldiers have died giving their lives to their country to protect their sovereignty and their independence. Britons talk about sovereignty. Ukraine, why can't Ukraine have their own sovereignty? You all talk about British sovereignty. Why can't Ukrainians have their own sovereignty? Aren't you a bit of a hypocrite for bragging about sovereignty? Just want to put that in there as well. So this idea that Putin is some kind of a good guy, or what he's doing is some kind of justified, is folly. because if you give him the green light to allow him to take Ukraine, which like we did with Crimea, what is to stop him taking other nations? What is to stop him putting NATO's unity to the test and invading Finland, or Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, Poland? What's to stop him doing all that? There'd be nothing, because we wouldn't be united. So, yeah, don't try and come on my channel trying to defend or justify what Russia are doing. It's a fundamental fact that what he's doing is he's declared war on another nation, and innocent people have died as a result of it. Now, going well off topic here, Nigel Farage, obviously controversial figure, without a shadow of a doubt, spews a lot of lies, a lot of misinformation. However, he is very good at influencing people. He has a very powerful way with words, and those words can really manipulate people into believing things that they shouldn't really believe in. Gives a little bit of truth to you, but gives a lot of lies as well. And one thing that has been going on about Nigel Farage's party is a lot of candidates are racist, or think that it's perfectly justifiable to be shooting innocent people as well. So, I have a question for you. If you're still supporting reform, does that not make you a racist in itself? Because, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think there's any black candidates for Reform UK. I wonder why. Does say a lot about your party when mostly pretty much 95 or pretty much 100% of your candidates are all white people. Just does raise a bit of questions, doesn't it? So to say that there isn't something here, I think it's a bit folly, if I'm honest, guys. Let's read into it. So claims of Russian interference in the general election campaign are gravely concerning, the Deputy Prime Minister has said. So Oliver Dowden told Sunday Morning with Trevor Phillips that Moscow allegedly uses Facebook pages to spread support for Nigel Farage. It's a classic example from the Russian playbook. The Australian Broadcasting Corporation, ABC, said it had been monitoring 5 coordinated Facebook pages which have been supporting espousing Kremlin talking points, with some posting in support of Reform UK. Mr. Dowden told Sky News, "This is something I've warned about for some time. There is a threat in all elections, and indeed we see in this election from hostile states actors seeking to influence the outcome of the election campaign. Russia is a prime example of this, and this is a classic example of the Russian playbook." He added that this was a low-level use of bots. Mr. Downing earlier told the Sunday Times these revelations reveal the real risk our democracy faces in this uncertain world. Malicious foreign actors promoting political parties, politics and views that fit the agenda is just another example of the challenges in the increasing volatile cyberspace of the 21st century. And it's gravely concerning to see during an election campaign. The newspaper reported that Conservative Chairman Richard Holden has written to Simon Case, the Cabinet Secretary, and Tim Barrow, the National Security Advisor, asking for claims to be investigated. According to ABC, the pages appear to have little in common but were linked through an examination of the location data attached to the page's administrators. The tracking of paid ads and an analytics of the page similar or shared content. The network of pages have combined 190,000 followers, each featuring criticism of several UK political parties, including the Conservatives and Labour, the ABC says. The broadcaster also reportedly found out of the administrators from each page are based in Nigeria, which is a significant connection as previous online Russian propaganda networks are found to have been operating in Africa. Yeah, I've heard that. I've heard about the connections there before with Nigeria and Africa there. The Russian propaganda networks in Nigeria. The report comes as after Nigel Farage faces a backlash for saying that he blames the West and NATO for the Russian invasion of Ukraine. Mr. Farage called it cobblers to claim bots generated by foreign state actors could interfere with the election outcome as he launched a personal attack on Mr. Downer. Asked about the Deputy PM's comments, he told Trevor Phillips, "I don't talk such cobblers. I mean, you have this bland fellow on earlier who apparently is the Deputy Prime Minister, who no one knows who he is, and there is a saying, there are Russian bots involved." Hang on. Did you ask him how many millions of pounds his party have taken from Russian sources over the course of the last few years? This is a Russian hoax. There's absolutely no question that the Conservatives have links to Russia, like I said. So why is Oliver Downs saying this now? Well, might be because he and his party are going to get wiped out. That's probably why. So maybe just trying to put on the face to say, hey, we're not bad people. Like, they're the bad guys. And I feel like it's a bit late now to be saying this. Mr. Farage went on to describe Russian President Vladimir Putin as a very dangerous man. I abhor what he's done to Ukraine totally and utterly, he said. But I was far-sighted. I saw this coming. He claims he saw it coming. Well, he probably did say that speech he did, because he said it in a speech in the EU a while back, and he probably is right there. But now, make no mistake about it, there are links. There are links from some of candidates, some backers of reform who may or not have links to Russia, allegedly. And we should be careful about that. And he has stated that he's an admirer of Putin as well, even though that he condemns the invasion of Ukraine. You know, your past comments can come back to haunt you. So I'd be very careful about taking Nigel Farage seriously, especially of things that he has said in the past. But unfortunately, there are some people who will generally just do not care, and will simply just accept whatever Nigel Farage says, regardless of how blatant some of the lies may be. But as for Russian interference, I would not be surprised if they are not already, if they're involved. We're pretty sure about that. Are they going to affect the outcome of this election? They may have a part in it. But I think generally, we're pretty dead certain to have a Labour government. I think that is for sure. But what do you guys think about the Russian interference? Or maybe some of you believe that there's no Russian interference at all. Some of you are actually Putin sympathizers, thinking that it was perfectly justifiable for innocent Ukrainians to die at the hands of Russian soldiers, because there have been those reports as well. Maybe some of you think differently and think that maybe Nigel Farage has more to answer. Let me know what you think about all this and more in the comment section down below. If you found this video interesting, please hit the like button, be greatly appreciated. Share it across social media so others are notified of this video. And subscribe, because it really does help support the channel. And if you want to go one step further, financially support me and the work that I do here, you can do so by becoming a YouTube member for as little as 99p. Or join me on Rumble or Patreon for exclusive content on those platforms. So thank you all so much for watching. I hope to catch you all very, very soon.